bless you, and welcome to another episode of God at Work. Today's episode, I've told you little bits about my friend Alex, the one that has come out of being a drag queen. And I know that some drag queens are just for show, just for doing entertainment. Being up on stage, and drag queens for that. But they're dressed in regular dress all the time. Others are dressed in drag all the time, not in the real fancy stuff usually, um, but they are dressed in drag all the time. And so this one, Alex, he was dressed all the time in drag. Wherever he went, he was in drag. He did shows, but he also was dressed in drag all the time. But I got a message from him on Valentine's Day. And this is the message that he sent me. He said, I was feeling very lonely and sad today. I had no one around me to give me Valentine chocolate, and no one around me to give Valentine's chocolate to, and no one who loved me enough to give me one. And my phone beeped on that exact time I was feeling sorry for myself, and it was your note wishing me a happy Valentine's Day and reminding me how no one could love me more than Jesus. And then I realized how much Jesus had loved me through you this past year. You saw me. I decided to send you Purdy's chocolates. Your friend, Alex. And he did. He sent some Purdy's chocolates for me for Valentine's Day. And he's in another province completely now, but he sent these to me for Valentine's Day. But here's a picture of, this is not him, but it's how I met him. He was standing off to the side watching where I was. And he was all dressed up in drag, his fancy drag like this, because he had just come recently from a show he did. It's crazy how they have, drag queens in the library, teaching little kids about it and all this type of thing. And that's what he just come from, a show like that. And in the mall, that's where my office was, in the mall. And so he was standing over on the side waiting for me to finish meeting with somebody. As soon as I finished, he came walking over. And he came walking over and he looked at me and he said, I see you're here talking with people and praying for people. Could I talk with you for a few minutes? And he sat down. Well, no, he didn't. He stood there. And I said, go ahead, have a seat. And he said, you wouldn't be embarrassed to have me sitting beside you? And I said, no, why? Why should I be embarrassed? He said, you didn't care how I looked. And so, he said several things to me, most of them that day. And he said, you didn't see and allow my makeup to scare you. You saw my pain. You saw my heart. You saw that I'm more than just a dress. You saw me. And he said those things to me so frequently. You saw me. And that made the difference in his life. Because he knew that, he'd been rejected by so many. And even though he grew up in the church and he wanted to go back to a church, he got rejected again. Again, he got rejected when he tried to go back to a church. He got kicked out. But 1 Samuel chapter 16, the latter part of verse 7, it says, God does not see as man sees, since man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. We've got to look at people's hearts and see them, see their pain, see that they're hurting, see what their heart's really searching for, and love them right where they're at. We've got to see them as God sees through the heart, not just through our outer eyes. If we look at everybody through their outer eyes, we're going to say, forget that one. People look at me through their outer eyes, and I can tell you some of the judgments that I get. But, it doesn't matter. We need to look at the heart as God does. And this is some lessons that I really learned dealing with Alex, because I had to learn to look at his heart and the words that were coming out of the mouth, listen carefully to them, rather than just looking at the way he looked. I mean, sometimes when he came to meet me, it was pretty strange. Sometimes he was all in his fancy drag, sometimes just in his normal everyday wear. But it was such a blessing to learn to look at his heart and not look at any of the outward appearance. Otherwise, I would have probably rejected him. I too probably would have sent him away and said, no, I can't do this. But God knew what he needed, and he knew what I needed to learn. And I really did need to learn to look at the heart, no matter who the person is, no matter what the situation is. And it is a lesson that I've had to use since meeting Alex several times. I've had to use it over and over again. We all do. But in 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 8, it says, above all, keep fervent in your love for one another, because love covers a multitude of sins. And we've all got areas that need to be covered and not looked at. We've all got areas where we've got to choose to love one another, not because of what we see, but because of what's in their hearts. Look at the pain they're going through. Look at the suffering that they've been going through. And the chapter, 1 Corinthians 13, speaks so much about this. I just want to read you a few things from it. But in verse 1 and 2, it says, if I speak in the tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. It is so important. We can talk all we want, but words aren't going to do it. People need to know, one, that they're seen. That was so important to Alex, to know that somebody saw him, not just his appearance, that somebody saw him. People need to know that they're seen, they're noticed, no matter who they are, no matter what it is they're going through. And sometimes it's not the ones that we really want to see. Sometimes it's not what we really want to be looking at, but we need to look at the heart, not the outward appearance. Some of the people that I've dealt with have come from gangs, and they look pretty scary, some of them. But for example, when I was pastoring in New West, there was this one guy that was coming forward, and he was pretty scary looking. I mean, my ushers got down there so quick to stop him. They got down there so fast to stop him from coming forward. And God said, you need to talk with him. So I let him go. I told the guy, let him come. But he was a pretty scary looking guy. He had chains all over, big motorcycle gang outfit and jacket, and the hair and everything. He was pretty scary looking. But his heart was hurting so badly. And God did a miracle in his life that day. I'm not going to get into the details of it, but I had to look past the appearance and listen to God saying, look at his heart, see what's going on. And so it's the same thing. We can talk all we want, like it says in the first part there. But, I could speak with the tongues of men and angels, but do not have love. I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. When what we're speaking has got to come through with love. It's got to come through with love. And then it carries on. In verse 3, it says, if I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardships, that I may boast, but I do not have love, I gain nothing. We can have all sorts of experiences to brag about, but the most important thing we have to have is love. Love. Because that's what's going to get to the heart. That's what's going to break through the hardest hearts. when they know that you truly love them, when they know that you truly care, when you truly love them, you see their pain, you see their hurt, then they start to open up and they start to let you see their heart because they realize that you really truly do love them. But there's some characteristics that we've got to have. It says, love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Always. Characteristics that we need to have when we walk into somebody's life. That's what they should see. They should see that we're patient. And sometimes with some of the people, it's not that easy. But if we're really trying to love as God loves, we've got to be patient with them. It might be somebody that's repeated the same thing to you over and over again. We've got to be patient and love them out of that. Love them in to how Jesus would act and react in their situations. But sometimes they're one, like as I've talked about a few weeks ago, they're going through hell and got to stop taking pictures, get out of there. But I love the next verse in verse 8. It says, love never fails. Love never fails. Never. You love somebody, and it's going to touch their hearts. They might not allow you to see it right away, but it will change them. It will speak to their hearts in such a way that you can tell God is moving. You can tell that the barriers are being broken down because that love never fails. It never fails. And we can do all we want. We can try all we want in the natural, but it won't get through those barriers until they know that they can trust you, until they know that you truly love them, until they know that you see them for who they are, not the way they're dressed, not the lifestyle they're living even, not where they're going, not who they're involved with, but you see them through the eyes of Jesus. You see their hearts. In 1 Corinthians 13, verse 13, it says, and now these three remain, faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. And some lessons that I really learned with Alex, because as I started out, when he first came over to me, and I invited him to sit down, and he says, the way I look doesn't bother you? You're not going to be embarrassed to be sitting here with me? No. But I had some real lessons to learn through it. But I ended up meeting with him until got him situated away from here. I ended up meeting with him at least twice a week. Because one time he wanted to listen to the program. He wanted to listen to God at Work. And so he couldn't do it at home because he was living with these other drag queens and he couldn't do it where he was living. So we would sit there in the mall, in my office, with my iPad and watch it every week. And then he wanted to watch the church service where I was attending. And so we would watch it another day. So he watched both every week. And he continually said, my makeup didn't scare you. You saw my pain. You saw my heart. You saw past the dress that I was wearing. You saw me. And so many people need to know that we see them. It is so important, so important that they know that we see them. And when people know that they're loved, it's amazing how receptive they are to what you have to say when they know that you love them. That's like when I was in the leper colony. The people there weren't dressed up in clothes of the opposite sex. They were just there, but they were all deformed. All of them. Some of them very, very severely, some minor. But the first time I was there, they needed to learn. They needed to know that they were loved. That they were loved. And then they looked forward and were excited about every time I was coming in. Every single time, 3 times a week, coming in, and I could speak to them. I could speak the truth to them. If they had lies that they were living to, I could speak the truth to them because they knew that I loved them. To come in regularly and truly love them, they knew for them. They knew it. And so, it's amazing what happens when people know that they are loved. No matter where you are, no matter who it is, no matter what they're going through, when they know that you see their pain, you see their heart, and you love them just as then they were willing to do and listen to what you have to say. But we've got to show them and respect and show them that love that they deserve if we truly want them to listen and obey. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for Alex. I thank you for his life, Father, and I thank you that his life was completely changed by your love. That even at the mall, while he was still living here, he stopped coming in drag. He was dressed as a man. He was dressed the way he should have been dressed. And he came in open to hear what you had to say, opening his heart to receive you, to love you back as you loved him. So, Father, I ask anyone listening that's going through a stage where they don't feel that they're not seen, may they know that we see them. When they feel that we don't understand their heart, we don't see their heart, we only want to judge them by what we see. We don't see their pain. Father, I ask forgiveness for the times that I've done that. And Lord, I ask that for all those that are listening, we will learn to look at the heart as God looks at the heart, not look at the outer appearance. So Lord, I ask, have your perfect will. Have your perfect will, Father. And help us to learn to see each and every person as you see them. Help us to learn to love as you love. In your precious name. I do pray that this has helped you, and some of you that are going through situations where you don't feel love, where you don't feel seen, that God will place in your path someone that will help you through that. If you need to send us a message, please do so. The ways to get a hold of us are all in the description. Feel free to send a message. And if there's any way we can help from a distance, happy to. But you need to know that you are seen. You need to know that you are loved just the way you are, right where you're at. And it's that love that will pull you out of where you're at, out of going through hell, into the love of Jesus. It happened for Alex. I pray that it will happen for you too. So if this has touched you, and any of you that maybe know someone that needs that touch, reach out to them. But if you'd like to sow into this ministry so we can carry on, please do. We love being with you, and your help really is a blessing for us. May God bless you, and we'll see you next week. Jerry's got a song here we're going to end with, and I pray that it will touch your hearts. God bless you. We'll see you next week. Jerry.
Questions running all around you, don't know what you want to do. Is he fact or is he fiction? You've heard so many stories, don't know what to do. He changed my life, set me free, gave me what I really needed, gave me what I really wanted, took away those chains I thought I needed so bad. All those things won't make you happy, carnal things can't satisfy a hungry soul that needs a feeding, a little child that needs to cry. He changed my life, set me free, gave me what I really needed, gave me what I really wanted, took away those chains I thought I needed so bad. Behold, he stands at the door and knocks. If any man would hear his voice and dare to open the door, he will come into him. He changed my life, set me free, gave me what I really needed, gave me what I really wanted, took away those chains I thought I needed. He changed my life, set me free, gave